This is Danny.
It is me.
All right, Danny. Danny's an INTP.
I'm into
You're into
whatever
what?
that means. No, INTP. I'm saying in one word.
You're into
Yeah.
So,
That's exactly what I am.
my question is, what is your theory on the Overman? Oh, my hand's there.
Oh,
the
jeez.
Overman.
That's the Ubermensch.
The Uberman.
That's it's not my theory. It's the theory of what's his name? Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche, from Thus Spoke Zarathustra, and that is that if we evolved from apes, we must evolve into something else. So that's the Overman. That's at some point in time, if evolution is continually going on, at some point in time, man will no longer be man. We will be something else. So that's why I say I declare the Overman, which means I declare the new race. No, I'm no longer men. I am the Overman. Hopefully, the hippie in me says that the Overman will be somebody who, espouses or lives the life of love and peace, and the great utopian dream, or whatever you want to say. Where we can all
That's the goal.
experience the fruits of of higher enlightenment when the Overman arrives. But I'm ready to start the Overman now. So declare the Overman.
So this will just be a little snippet in the video.
It's like a prelude.
Yeah.
MollythePerson talks about things.
I always say there's somebody like you in the world, but I don't think that, like, for me, I always think there isn't. There's no way to fully categorize, like me, personally, I believe. But in general, people, everybody has their own, you can kind of use it a bit, I suppose. But my thought is that there's always something that's like, there's always people there's like a set of rules, and you're gonna defy those rules or break them in some way. Everybody does, pretty much.
There are
I
always
think.
exceptions.
Yeah, everybody, but not even exceptions as much as everybody has something that is not going to follow that set thing. You know what I mean?
Well, it doesn't determine like if you like Doritos or something. It's just basically
of course.
how you are operating and functioning and making decisions. Danny is a type 4 wing 5, we think, on the Enneagram, or a 5 wing 4, which is also caring about unique identity, and fours tend to be very unique in nature, and creative as well.
I would hope so. I mean, that's kind of like one of the most important. That's what I always tell my kids. That's like the number one thing I tell them. I said, don't ever be the same as anybody else. That's like the worst thing. When people tell you you're different or weird, be very happy about that. That's important. You should definitely be weird and different. It's like,
Yeah.
those are the people that change the world, right? Not the boring people. I don't know. Is that okay? Am I doing okay?
You're doing great. I am wondering how the sound is.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna be able to restate this in a
You will.
in a seated
In
environment.
different words. 3 words to describe each other,
Oh boy.
and 3 words to describe yourself. And I won't take anything personal.
Oh, I'm on the spot. 3 words describe me.
Yes.
Huh. Oh man, I can't think right now.
I can do my 3 words to describe you. I'm putting you on the spot. So, the 3 words that I would use to describe Danny, I feel like I'm presenting my middle school project. Analytical, passionate, and cynical.
Okay.
Are 3. I thought of
That's very good. That's for sure. My wife always says I'm very cynical. That's for sure. And passionate. I would agree with all those. I mean, I guess what I was looking for something is like forward, like pushing. Like, I don't know how else to describe it myself. I feel like I should always be, like you mentioned, try and be learning, I feel like life is a process, so I should always be, like, I was looking for some sort of word that would mean to be continually forward thinking or pushing. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, I always have to be pushing towards something. You should be, I feel like, at least.
ambitious,
Maybe.
growing,
Yeah.
open.
Cynical is definitely right. I'm definitely, a lot of the world I look at, like, what's wrong with you people and what's wrong with the world. I can't help it.
It's interesting because those things kind of seem like opposites, like wanting to grow and push forward, and also that seems like a very positive framework.
Yeah.
And then the other side.
Well, it's tough because you see all the, sadness, and in my mind, I don't want to say evil, evil or whatever, or just wrongdoing, greed in the world, and so I definitely, it makes me upset, and it just makes me cynical about, like you talk music, I get cynical because I see that money is taking over that, and there's very little real, I shouldn't say any, there still is good artists, but they're few and far between, you know, becoming less and less. And, you know, kids, I look at my kids, you know, and they're average kids, and it's what they listen to. Music doesn't matter to them anymore. It's been pushed out because, you know, the attention spans have died, you know, and it's just, you just don't have that passion like that I have, at least, or that even you have, you know, and
Video has become such a huge part of it, so people
Yes.
are listening with their eyes.
yeah, for sure. But the other thing is, like, it's shorter and shorter. Like, the new thing is, like, what is the thing that my daughter talks about, that TikTok? Have you heard of TikTok? Like,
I heard of it, but I haven't.
it's like you can't do anything over. It's like like a Vine type thing. You can't do anything over 8 seconds because God knows we can't handle 8 seconds. This is coming from a guy who listens to 40-minute songs, you know. And I'm there, these people want to hear 8 seconds, you know.
Yeah.
Like, even if you watch The Voice, they don't play full songs even. They cut right to the bridge after one verse because we can't have a song even be 3 minutes. It's got to be a minute and a half. You know what I mean? And like, I'm like, man, let this stuff develop. You know, I don't know. I guess I'm older, so, you know, I grew up on a different era with having that longer patience, whatever. Like, we were talking earlier today about reading. You know, kids don't have the patience to read anymore. You know what I mean? So that makes me cynical. Lots of things make me
The
cynical.
movies and the cartoons also are flashing and are
Correct.
feeding that sort of quick attention span. So
Yeah, for sure.
or enabling it.
For sure.
So do you have 3 words to describe me, or do you want to pass?
Okay, no, I could. The exact opposite of cynical. One of your best qualities, I think, always is you're positive. You always make me smile when I'm like, you know, and I'm like, oh man, I come in, I'm like, oh, I hate the world. That's why today when you're like, I feel that way too. I'm like, what? You're supposed to make me be nice to me. So I would say positive, cheerful, inquisitive. You like to learn a lot about people because you're very into this whole thing, which I don't understand. I mean, I understand it. It's just sometimes I'm a little like anti because it's a little overly. People are people, and I don't
Too
know.
boxy
Yeah,
for you.
I have to try and break out of that box, you know. So I'm like, whatever you tell me, I'm like, no, that's wrong. I gotta
Would it
find a way.
help to know that you're one of the rarest types?
Yes.
Okay.
I also like, and I didn't mention. I don't know how to describe it to you. Like, you have a silent work ethic that I don't like. Like, I'll be thinking that you're just, you know, goofing off at work, but then I'll come and I know you actually like continually. Like, one thing I really admire is that I talk about all the time, you went to Nashville and stuff and did your thing without knowing anybody. That's really impressive because I don't have the guts to do stuff like that, you know what I mean? So you actually have to have a lot of courage, and you're not afraid to push forward in your stuff, you know. I don't know how, I guess I can't put it in one word, but anyways, it's admirable.
Determined.
Like, I think you aren't doing anything and you're actually working on emailing random bands or whatever. Or, not random bands, clubs, excuse me, you know. And I'm like, wow, I'm sitting here watching chess videos or something, you know.
Well, you're learning also
I am, but, you know,
how to dominate me in chess.
that's right.
I will beat you eventually.
You got a lot of work to do. I'm kidding.
I would have to be doing that instead of sending emails. Do you identify with being introverted? Or what elements of you feel?
I feel introverted when I meet people initially. Like, I guess I describe myself as like an introvert until you know me, and then I'm super extroverted. Once you know me, like, I don't know if that is the definition of an introvert, because I have a ton to say,
Totally.
but yet I'm extremely when I meet somebody new, I don't know what to say to them or how to talk to them or what to do to them with them, you know, or like I'm always overanalyzing everything I say to them. So I'm very nervous and very introverted when I meet somebody. But then if I get to know somebody, then I can't ever shut the fuck up. Excuse my language.
It tends to be what you're leading, if your leading world is internal or external. But
My description of myself is always, I used to say, I've mastered the art of being completely alone in a packed room. Meaning when I was in some of my bands, more successful bands, the more successful band, the more alone I felt like at a gig. Like, we'd play to like 150 people, and then like on set break, I'd go in the car and sit alone because I wouldn't want to. I don't know how to mingle with people, and I feel really weird and awkward. So I'd be like, I'll just be out here for half an hour, and then, you know, I should be happy. All these people are coming to see me, right? And I am happy, but I just don't know I just don't know what to say to the people, and I don't really know them, and I'm not good at small talk, and, you know, they don't want to talk about Frank Zappa or you know, I don't know, give me a more obscure band. I don't know.
And
Magma.
you don't feel like playing the game, really.
Yeah. So.
Do you consider yourself a private person?
I don't know. I never really thought about that question. I don't think so. No, I would say no, actually, because if you know me, I'm completely honest. I never lie, and I'm never one person who like I was talking about on Facebook, I see certain friends of mine who like, I think, oh, they're posting all this stuff about how they're having a great relationship, and then next week they're divorced, you know, right? Like, if I was going to be divorced next week, you would know it like months in advance because I'd be having a bad relationship because I would never say it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm very much open about
You're
that stuff.
truthful about what's going on.
Yeah, I can't, I don't know how to lie, you know, I just don't know how to do that. I can't sugarcoat things or whatever, I just don't know. It's like not in me. So I don't know if that makes me more open. I would say I'm not private, meaning I will tell you how I feel all the time about anything. I'm not really afraid of that. I don't really hide my feelings. I guess if that's what you're looking
Yeah. I liked what you were just saying about that if you want to be a good writer, read or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and you said you're reading Stephen King?
I'm not. I have read a lot of
You've
Stephen
read
King.
Stephen King.
A lot of Stephen King, yeah. Love him. Great
Do you
author.
want to just repeat that?
Oh, what I was telling you
Just
earlier?
authentically?
Oh, what I was telling you earlier, because we had an argument yesterday, because we do argue, like when we were discussing, you know, music and our influences and stuff, and it came up because we were discussing Americana, and I said, how can you be a fan of, how can you consider yourself Americana if you don't know the band? And so we were talking about, you know, trying to listen to I was pointing out, trying to listen to tons and tons of music as much as you can. And we were discussing the dichotomy of what I consider like a genius versus someone who works hard at their craft, and the difference musically being that, you know, the obvious example again to go to the Beatles, which we talked about earlier in this interview. It's just easy to say the Beatles because people can reference them. Is I always felt Lennon was a genius, meaning his songs came out of nowhere. That he didn't have to hear anything. He didn't study things. He just would wake up and just play it. And you know, McCartney worked real hard at his craft. And so to go back to what we were talking about yesterday, so you said, well, maybe sometimes it's worth not, you know, not learning it, not listening to stuff because then you'll be more original. I said that is true. You brought up a baby, right? Saying a baby can come up with his own sounds or whatever and do his own thing.
Yeah, baby will look at an object as a totally new object, like
and not have preconceived notions.
he's not
of
gonna
it.
see clock. He's just gonna see
Yeah.
like probably put it in his mouth, but you can see it as so many more things. There's an exercise we did in theater where we like did mask work where we pretended to be just basically born new again, and then look at we go around the room and like look at it.
That's
like
cool.
It's the first time we ever looked at it, and then it offers a sort of fresh perspective, and you might think about things that you didn't if you already had those preconceived
Cool.
notions.
No, that makes total sense. So anyways, to go into what I talked about today, we were discussing what we were reading, and then I brought up Stephen King. I think because actually Juliana, our other cousin, mentioned that she was reading Stephen King, so she put it in my mind. And Stephen King is one of my favorite authors. And one of Stephen King's big things that I always think about what he said was that if you want to be a good writer, read. How do you become a good writer? Read. Read as much as you can to become. And so I was thinking about that, and I also think about that and apply that to music. And that's what I was telling you is that in order to become a good music writer, listen. Meaning you got to listen to as much different music as you can. And at least this is the way I look at it. And then hopefully all that gumbo of influences, you know, the melting pot, whatever, will spit out something good. I hope, you know. Because I'm not a genius and I'm not going to just come up with it out of nowhere. I'll tell you that much. It ain't coming to me just randomly. All my ideas come from listening to someone else and then saying, oh, well, that's pretty cool. Oh, but what if I did it this way? And so then you start thinking of it that way, at least.
Even people who don't admit it, if they think it's a brand new original idea, it's usually from your subconscious. Like you subconsciously absorbed something before and are putting it out in a different way maybe, or the same way without even realizing.
So I guess I'm trying to put as much into my subconscious now. That's
so
the way I look at it.
You're feeding yourself your creative genius, and then it'll come out. All right. Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming in my office. I appreciate it. You know, I don't consider we're 10 feet away from each other normally. It's like it was a real effort for you.
Yep.
All right. Well,
this was a good
hopefully
video. This is a really good video.
It was a really good video. She said.
9 out of 10. All right. This is the second video, so I have to tell them to like and subscribe.
Okay.
Like and subscribe. Goodbye.
Bye. Awesome.